E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Finding Health Naturally. Wednesdays, Mentoring Our Youth. Thursdays, Pets We Love. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and donnaguinouard. Along with our host, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Hueda. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And Emerson, we need to, by the way, Emerson, good to see you here there on this wonderful Monday.
Hello, Jim.
Folks, we're going to have to upgrade our intro video because Thursdays has turned out to be a very, very special day for this program. And Emerson, I think we're going to call it Ideas Worth Knowing, aren't we?
Yes.
We really are, because an opportunity came our way. And Emerson, I'd like for you just to share a little bit about the opportunity. It's also you folks out there in TV land, pay attention, because this is not what's in it for me. This is what's in it for you.
Well, I've had a good relationship with Mike Lewis, who is a top publisher, primarily of business books. In fact, he's published a number of books that either I've written or I've been a writer in. And I've seen him work with well over 800 to 1,000 best-selling authors. And he really cracked the code on what it takes to make it into a bestseller. And he's also cracked the code on what it takes to be able to publish a series of books for what most publishers think one book should be worth, charged for.
Oh, yeah.
So in talking with Mike and talking with Jim, we came up with this idea, but my goodness, Mike has a whole series of books called Ideas Worth Knowing. I said, why don't we create a day of the week where we bring in people who have ideas worth knowing, who have good insights and good instincts and who understand what's going on. And, for example, one of the things that I'm working on with him is in the AI space and in really finding a way to tone down all the volume about artificial intelligence and get the real facts for people to be able to access and use in their business. But that's just how Mike thinks. So I posed it to Jim and to Mike, and both of them thought it would be a great idea. In fact, Jim is going to have an upcoming book before too long here. I've been working on some of the editing on it here this week.
Yeah, he doesn't understand country English, so it's going to take a while. But also,
but that's what Dr. Google's for,
But also, too, Mike is offering, let me put this link up here.
Oh, yeah.
You can receive your complimentary 10-book library card. You can go in there and get 10 books. Yes. Now, there are no strings attached.
Yeah.
Now, for us baby boomers, remember back when we go to RCA Victor or Columbia Records, we paid 97 cents and get some records. And then the next time we got, we get a bill and all that. That does not work like this. We don't go down that street. You want to know why? We don't have to. We got integrity, and we, on this TV show, we like to treat people just like if I was sitting out there in TV land. I was listening to some guy talking about a free or complimentary library card. Well, I could go and pick and choose the 10 books of my choice that are bestsellers on specific topics.
Yeah.
With no strings attached.
And I have to say, if they go to an online store, some of these books sell for as much as $24.95.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So there's a real value add there, and you get to pick the book. You don't have to pick them all at once. You pick the books that you want.
Yeah.
You know? And now these are the downloaded versions.
Yes, sure.
But
sure.
But the thing is, you're able to pick the ones that you want, the areas that are interested you. So yeah, definitely go to ideasworthknowing.com and register for your library card, where you're able to get 10 books at no cost at all to you. And you're not going to be pitched and spammed and everything else. You'll be able to go in there and pick out the things that are of interest to you. And that's all thanks to Mike.
It's a complimentary. Yeah, it really is. It was part of what he wanted to bring to the party, because when it comes to marketing and it comes to relationships, one thing that Emerson has taught me, it's got to be a win-win-win for everybody. And even though we invited Mike and Emerson to do the show on Thursday, focused on that because everybody's got a book in them, and being able to invite guests that have written books, that's pretty unique. And in addition to that, Mike on his own just says, hey, I'm going to give the viewers out there 10 complimentary copies of any book that they want. They're bestsellers and no strings attached.
There you go.
That's really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, folks. You folks out there in the TV land, is that the kind of people you like to do business with? You'll probably say absolutely. People who are looking to, a business deal to me is kind of like a potluck. Everybody brings their specialty to the show or to the game. And we all share, and everybody wins all the way around, and there's enough left over for everybody. And that's the way I like to do it, because I've been involved in situations where, one person only be interested in what's in it for them. And, people like that, say, thank you, but no thanks. But Mike really surprised me on that deal. That was after I'd already agreed, and we'd already made, our verbal agreement. And he says, oh, by the way, I'm going to offer the viewers a complimentary card to get 10 of the #1 best-selling books and no strings attached. And, Emerson, that's my kind of people. I've known Mike for several years. I knew he was a class guy, but hey, he delivers. He really does.
And there are only a handful of people that I can say of the hundreds and hundreds of companies that I've worked with as a consultant and within the companies, and possibly thousands, but hundreds and hundreds, sure, that there are only a handful that I've had a deep relationship. It's over 10 years with Mike.
Oh yeah.
It's whatever. What is it with us, Jim? About 6 years, 7 years?
No, it's 7 years at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So building long-term relationships of value and trust. In marketing, that really, I tell people, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for those long-term, mutual, valued relationships. And it's not just you want to pay with cash or credit, it's not just how much you're able to sell them at that moment. It's the relationship, because that long-term relationship of value and trust is something that will continue on and on and on, and continue to refer people and purchase from you, and
Oh, yeah.
and you're not,
Yeah.
all you're doing is finding the right people and repelling the ones that aren't.
Yeah, exactly. And you build a trust where that person can say, Emerson is a go-to guy. You are a go-to person.
That's
That's what you
powerful.
want. Yeah. And a lot of people, Emerson and I were talking about this. We decided to do the show on this today. A lot of people think getting people to their website, advertising is the thing to do. And a lot of people are getting on board with AIs and social media thinking that's the thing to do. But Emerson, there is more substance to it than that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's you get somebody in your door, or you get somebody on the phone or on your website, and you have a visitor.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you have a sale.
Mm-hmm.
You want cash or credit. Maybe you have a sale. But, there are two examples that I use, Jim. One is pool players and one is chess players. And both of them are doing the same thing in the back of their mind. The shot or the move that a grandmaster makes isn't the most important thing. They're already thinking about how it sets them up for the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one.
That's right.
And when we step back from how much did I get on that sale, and we start thinking in terms of the relationship, now we're thinking in terms of that longer term picture. It's not just a one-off. And what we're going to talk about today is something near and dear to my heart, which is even bigger than your marketing alone. The thing that really takes your marketing to the next level, and that is publicity and PR that you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Because that gives people more insight into you, and it does it in a newsworthy type of a fashion, as opposed to a promotional type of fashion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get emails in all the time, 30% off on this, 30% off. And this one company, and I've approached them, and they're kind of like, no. We're going to keep doing the 30% off. Well, 30% off is not really a big deal unless you are in that market. And they think that money is what's going, or discounts is what's going to attract people. And facts tell, but stories is what sell. People want to get to know who you are. They want to know some of the interesting stuff that makes you, your business.
Money is rarely the thing that is the biggest motivator to people.
Oh, yeah. People value time more than they do money. They really do.
Yeah. Money is an abstract, and people will make a decision. Those of you who've watched the show over the last couple of years or so have heard me say this before, but people make their decision based on it feeling like the right decision.
Yes.
Not just the price. And if price were the only thing that mattered, then you wouldn't have 50 different car companies and hundreds of different models at all different price ranges. All you would have would be, well, what was that car from Eastern Europe? The Yugo. You'd have Yugos out there with everybody driving them for $1,500.
Yeah.
So people don't just make the decision based on money. Money is a factor. Yeah. And we in business shouldn't be making our decisions just based on the money.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
We should be making our decisions based on having shared values and having people that respond to those values and who buy from us and trust us because they know that we have those shared values and that our values include taking care of them.
Yeah, there's been times in my life when a couple of times I can think of where I was in market for a product and two companies had it. One was a little higher than the other. but I did not respect the company that had it for a cheaper price for personal reasons. So if I was just going to make a decision on money, it would have been a no-brainer. But I've got to do business with people that I like, know, and respect. And that was the deciding factor for me to pay a little bit more for the very same product.
But I had an experience. It was a very emotional experience for me. It was cathartic. It was one of those life-changing kinds of things. Okay. I was in a mall. This is back around 2008, 9. I think it was 2008, Christmas. And those of you who were, around and in business know that was a pretty catastrophic time for businesses. Yeah. So it's the week after Christmas, and I'm walking through this mall. I don't even remember why I was there. It isn't a place I usually would go, but I'm walking through this mall, and I would say well over half of the stores were closed and papered over. All of the stores that were left had 40, 50, 60, 70% off banners hanging in their windows. And folks, I started choking on the emotion. A couple of people actually came by and asked me if I was okay, because I knew here were people who had poured everything they had into their business, and they were cutting their own throats because they were the farmers. The whole thing about farmers, you don't eat your seed, right?
Right.
You don't eat your seed because you don't have anything to plant for the next season. Well, they were cutting their profits, which is how they kept all of the different families and people that worked for them in, on payroll, and were able to order and have credit with their suppliers, and on and on and on. And they were just desperate because they didn't understand. You can't do that. In that kind of environment, money isn't the factor. In fact, in that same environment, the businesses that survived, almost all of them, did not try to go that route, but came up with a better value add, a value plus, that they were able to give to their clients and customers. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. I mean, this show, if I can just kind of segue into what we said, let's talk about today. Right? I have used publicity and promotion for years, and most of you know me as somebody who does marketing strategy, copywriting, and I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of businesses, done well over 10,000 campaigns in over 30 countries around the world. And even if a company has a lot of money that they apply towards their marketing, PR and promotion fills a whole different place.
Yes.
And it actually energizes that marketing, and it does things that the marketing, the advertising, the promotional things that you do, the email and the posts and things, that no matter how good you are, and a lot of people know me as a copywriter, so I mean, writing copy that gets people to convert, that's one of the things I'm known for. But no matter how good that is, there's something totally different when people are reading an article, or they're hearing an interview like on this show right here, and having a host that's talking with you. I mean, there's so many different nuances to it emotionally for people. PR, publicity, promotion, this is an arena. Gosh, Jim, it's so sad. So much of what we see is done wrong. It's done wrong.
Yeah.
It's either pitching or it's irrelevant. Joe Johnson has been promoted from the second assistant third director to the third assistant second director, or what. Nobody cares.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
You open a new store, well, maybe somebody in that neighborhood will care. But the thing is, your promotional, your publicity, your PR, your public relations,
Yeah.
they're things that can make it just pop.
Pop. Yeah, exactly. Because
And
people
that's what
want to
we're going to talk
connect.
about today.
Yeah, people want to connect with you. They want to know the
Yeah.
struggles you've been through. And, because I remember in Houston, there is a huge furniture store known as Gallery Furniture, and No Mattress Mac, known him for since the early 90s. And his father was known as Mr. Mac. And Mr. Mac, I had the privilege of sitting down and talking to him. He says, we tell all of our salespeople, you've got to tell the story. He said, people know we're going to give them a good price. That's no story. But people don't know the story of how Mac started Gallery Furniture, selling furniture during the day, driving at night to Dallas, get some more furniture, coming back and selling it during that day. And he says he'd just get cat naps here and there. And he says that's how he started his company, and that's how he built it, and how he became very benevolent in giving back to the community. See, people want to connect with someone that's connected and has a heart for others. People who are just in it just to turn dollars and make as much money as they can, there's no relationship there.
Get all you can and can all you get.
Well, we got these slides here we made up for you. So, Emerson, I'll be glad to start them anytime you're ready. And
yeah, and the thing, all I want to add to what you were saying, what Jim was saying there is, you can tell your story in your marketing.
Oh yeah,
but it's a whole different animal when I'm reading an ad and you're telling me about the story.
Oh yeah.
Than when you're being talked to or interviewed, or a blogger is posting information about you, or a radio or television host
or comments you said about what your struggles. Yeah.
And the people are they're engaged in that. They're hearing it from a different voice, not your paid voice, from a different voice.
Yeah, because when someone reports something about you, third party, that just gives you a lot of credibility and credentials and everything. So,
yeah, and there are a couple of things here to think about, and I know we're going to talk about some of this, but in most people think of their marketing as, I do my marketing and I have this message and it goes out to this person. And I want to get that person to buy from me. Okay. All right. In publicity and PR, you have to step back from it and think about having two markets. Now, those of you who have a business to business type of a business, your marketing is business to business. And Jim, I know you did in the manufacturing side.
Right.
You always have a gatekeeper that you have to get through, right?
Oh yeah.
You've got now, what most people try to do is to barrel past them or trick their way around them and things like that. But that's not the way to do it. If you think about the gatekeeper as also part of your market, their needs are different than the person you're trying to reach. And in business to business, that might be
that's right,
purchasing agent or a CEO, right? But the gatekeeper has to be satisfied that what you have to present is worthy of them letting you through. Now, those of you who have a business to business, you understand that. Here's the thing. In PR, public relations, publicity, we have a gatekeeper. And we have to satisfy the gatekeeper that the message is on target. Now, that gatekeeper might be the editor, might be the news director, it might be the blog post owner, could be the talk show host like Jim here. But if Jim gets a message about your business and it has no relevance at all in his mind to his market, who is the audience for the show, what do you
Amen.
think he's going to do with that? Yeah. So Jim is your market as well.
Mhm.
Jim has to be satisfied that this is the right fit.
Mhm.
And Jim then will let you be on the show. And the news editor or news director or blogger or influencer, they will give you a lot more voice than you would ever have by buying it, just by buying an ad alone, whether it's online or offline, because there's this implicit endorsement of you simply by having you there. Can you feel what I'm talking about there? So when Jim has somebody on the show and he's talking to them, he's querying them, he's asking them questions, well, what happens is it opens them up. And for viewers, ask yourself this question. As a viewer, is that something that matters and that feels different than if Jim and Jim has ads too, but that's different than now we're going to have a break for our sponsor, right?
Yeah.
That's a totally different feeling.
Yeah.
It's a conversation. It's a relationship.
Yeah. I remember when I was invited to speak at a summit over in India on rainwater harvesting and water conservation. And the young lady who was putting it on, Vanna, wanted me to be on there. And I says, Vanna, I'm not a subject matter expert in that arena. I said, the only thing that I can tell you about water conservation, when my kids are growing up, I'd yell at them, tell them to shut the water off, quit wasting it. But that's it, because I knew as a professional, my number one responsibility to the event coordinator is to make the event coordinator look good to their audience.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people give them a chance to be on stage. Oh, yeah. They want to get on there and they want to talk about how great they are, what they've done, this and that, and what they got for sale and all that. And, like Emerson says, after everything you say, ask yourself an honest question. So what? So what values this bring? So as we continued talking, I told her, I says, well, I could give a presentation on how people could get their community involved. She says, oh, that would be perfect. So I took the 6-minute webinar. Let me put the website up there. And I created a 6-minute webinar presentation, and I adapted it, made it, expanded it in areas I need to expand to fill my time. And the very first comment, now the King of Almond was a guest of honor there. And he's hearing speaker after speaker after speaker talk about this is who I am, this is what I do, yada, da, 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 da. It's all about me, 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 me. And he's just sitting there, and came my time. I thank a young lady for inviting me. And my very first comment, and I got this compliments of the 6-minute webinar. My very first comment was that, ladies and gentlemen, during my presentation today, I'm going to share with you 3 proven ways that you can get your community involved to make your community a better place to live. And when I said that, the King of Almond, he was sitting back like this, and all of a sudden he kind of like leaned forward a little bit. That what does his body language tell me? That I was different, and he thought, maybe this guy's got something I want to hear. That's the purpose of it. So going along with what Emerson was saying there, you've got to be able to make sure that you satisfy everyone's needs. My number one responsibility was to the event coordinator to make her look good for having me on her show, and that's the way I accomplished it.
And I want to interject here, okay? Because a lot of times I've seen this happen. People think about PR or publicity as, well, you can't pitch, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's kind of milky toes, kind of. You know what? When you answer the why for that gatekeeper, you can have, in many cases, opportunities and offers and other things that people, you can say things in your press release that they will carry word for word if you understand what their needs are.
Yeah.
And I have done it. I can tell you this in one case. Every publicity or PR campaign, PR means press releases. Everyone is a little different, but I managed to take an unknown 20-something, and over a period of several months of consistently building the press release base, was able to get him on every national major talk show for almost 2 years.
Wow.
The very first one that he was on, we got the call from New York, and I won't forget, it was the Donnie Deutsch show. He had his own TV show at that time, and they said, "Can you be in New York tomorrow morning at 8:00?" Now, folks, when you get a question like that, there's only one word in the entire Merriam-Webster dictionary for that question to answer it. That is absolutely.
Yeah.
And we were, and within 48 hours, we had 3 more talk shows, and it just went on from there several times a week for over 2.5 years.
Wow.
The thing is, we were answering the needs for those gatekeepers. And with that, we were able to get the podium to be able to reach millions of people. And by the way, they do let you do things on almost any show that you're on, or any publication that you're in. They do let you offer things in most cases. If you have a checklist, if you have a book, if you have whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you have the ability to use this to feed your bigger marketing program. And you have the ability to use publicity and PR to do things that your regular marketing, that you're paying out the wazoo for, to do things and to touch people and reach people in ways that your marketing, by and large, isn't able to do because it's seen as promotional. And this is seen as newsworthy and interesting and counterintuitive, maybe even a little disruptive, and relevant. And like Jim said earlier, a story.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Say it again, Jim.
Well, facts tell, but stories sell. Stories sell. That's what people want to buy into. And we got 10 slides here. We wanted to share some great.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with slide number 1. Here we go, Emerson. I'm going to let you take the ball and run with it.
Yes. So press releases are that story. And your press release has certain format that it kind of follows. But think of it, if any of you who ever studied about the news pyramid, who, what, where, when, how, why, right? It's getting the facts up front and having it in a way that makes sense. This is your story now. Now, don't just tell the story. One of the little techniques to use is to bring in a couple of quotes to tell parts of your story. Not just from you, but maybe from one of your clients or from a case study that you had, or some aspect of it that is a direct quote and is timely and is relevant.
Yeah. Because
but
here
PR locally, especially, is a super advantage.
Oh, yeah. And the thing here too, this person will not be interviewed at this level on having a 30% off, 40% off, or 60% off sale. That's not going to happen. So that just, that just, I mean, it just doesn't have any newsworthy. Stories is what they want to share with people. So give them what they want. Make them look good to their audience. That's what you need to do with your PR.
Especially if you have a message that's a little counterintuitive or maybe a little disruptive. A little, what? Why does he say that's, and catches the attention? Or if it's time sensitive, if it's related to stuff that's going on in the news right now, right? Things that are current. Those are things that give you added weight when that news director, editor is, or blog owner is considering having you in, in their medium.
And here's another one.
There you go. Relevant and timely and counterintuitive. All of these are things that are important. Are you available if people have questions or interests beyond the article or beyond the show? How available are you? And how available are you for that news director, blog owner? How available are you? If they reach out to you, are you able to get back to them quickly? And how easy do you make it for them? How easy do you make it for them to work with you? And I can tell you this too. We see this over and over again. When you actually are reaching out to these different outlets, especially after they have you one time, they'll call you back again. And again, and again. And even the ones that don't have you, if what you have looks interesting and timely and trending, or, it's something that they think, that could be something we might want to do at some point, they'll file that away and they'll find it.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes up, they'll call you up.
Yeah, because you're always looking for good content. That's what they want to do.
Make it easy. Make it easy.
Yeah,
if they have 10 interesting pieces, and yours is you're the easiest one to work with, the fastest to respond. Oh yeah. Guess who they're going to call?
Oh yeah, because the last thing you're going to do is call a headache or a problem or a procrastinator or anything like that, because they've got enough going on in their world that's going to give them enough distractions, headaches, and flat tires, and you name it.
Oh, they have deadlines every day.
Oh, yeah.
And they're always looking for that new scoop.
Yeah. Yeah. Because this particular slide, Emerson sent to me, and I love it. It says, because this spells it right out. Why do they need you?
That's it.
Oh, gosh.
You're not hat in hand begging them to cover your story and pitch your company.
Yeah.
They need you.
They really do.
Because you're going to bring value. And by the way, in most cases, in my experience, they love it if you have a free offer for their people. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And always use the word complimentary, because if it's free, how good can it be? If I would say, well, like right here, let me put this back up here. You see right there, it says receive your complimentary 10 books. That's right. You get on your library card from ideasworthknowing.com. We could have very easily said, rather than type the word complimentary on the marquee, we could have put free. But when I say you can get your complimentary, that makes you feel a little special, because you are special. Yeah.
And get a gift. Or a gift. That's another good word.
Yeah. A complimentary gift. Yeah, absolutely. And, Emerson, it just blows me away how a little word like that can mean so much. Airlines do a great job of, they give you complimentary drinks after you buy their ticket and get on their airplane and all that. They'll say, well, we'll give you a free drink. It's just kind of like, well, it's something we got to do to keep you occupied or something. But also, too, This is one that I like, the media kit. We're going to talk more about that in another broadcast, I think, aren't we, Emerson?
Oh yeah, yeah, because that's a whole show, Jim.
Yeah, that's a
This
whole
this
different breed of cat.
yeah this has this these are some of the images from the media kit that I have, but with shows that I've been on with people who've interviewed me, and some headshots and live action shots and things like that. If you have a manufacturing company, having images of your workplace or of your people or of your products and things like that that matter. These are things that having it available ahead of time is important.
Yes.
And certainly if you have videos where you've been interviewed or articles, that have been written about your company, including copies of those in your media kit. And of course, for years, a media kit now basically has been for many years. It's a section of your website, where they can download it.
Oh yeah. Also, too, the Media Magnet website, Prime the Pump. I like that.
Well, this is a couple of interesting sites, and I encourage everybody to copy them down. One is called Help a Reporter, and it's run by a company called Cision, which is a huge public relations PR publicity firm out of, I believe, Chicago. But Help a Reporter has this great concept. Reporters have deadlines, and they need to find somebody who's an expert in what it is that you do. Okay. So reporters all sign up for Help a Reporter. And then Help a Reporter has another section of their site where people who are expert, for interviews or articles can select the categories that you're best in, and they put them together. So if a reporter says, I need to have an article on XYZ, Help a Reporter matches that up with people who have said, oh, that's the category that they are specialist in.
Yeah, just like someone pulls up a category they want to talk about heart issues, and if I'm registered there with them, and I talk about lessons from the heart, talking about my experience, they'll look at that and they'll determine whether or not, hey, we may want to talk to this guy.
And what they do is every day they send out, you'll get an email, and it'll have different subjects that they're looking for, different articles that they're trying to put together, different that relate to you.
Yeah.
And then you go in and click it, and you can connect directly with that reporter and say, hey, I can answer those questions for you. And by the way, I can do it from this perspective because I live in this area, and our company has worked in this for this many years, and we have this. And you don't have to sell them heavily, but let them know you're their person.
Oh yeah.
You're their person.
And yeah, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for someone that will make them look good to their audience, whether it's in a magazine or newspaper or a TV show, radio, whatever it might be. Remember what I said earlier about my responsibility to that young lady in India was to make her look good to her audience. This is the way you should approach that. And it's the only way to fly in it.
It is.
Helpareporter.com.
Yeah. And the other one is a little different perspective. The other, Google has an alert program that you can sign up for, and Google will send you links when something comes up in that arena, in that area. You can do an alert on your name, and anytime your name comes up, Google will send you an alert and says, hey, you were talked about here, or in your industry or in your product line. So this can help keep you abreast of what are the things that people are writing about, what are the things that people are blogging about, what are the things people are talking about, and it keeps you abreast of that, so that you are able to, you can reach out to them separately, okay, those outlets, or you can begin putting together another press release that has to do with that topic. Like, what's the hottest topic right now, Jim? artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's jumping on board on that one. Yeah.
Which is why I've been working, day and night, putting together a website to keep business owners posted with the latest news on AI, news they can trust. So
that's good. So helpareporter.com and then google.com/alerts. So check it out, please.
They both are excellent, and they only send you things that are specific to what you've asked for. Just make sure with Help a Reporter, you're not their job isn't to sell you. What you need to be able to do is to fill their need. And what you will get from that is an immense amount of recognition, credibility, and name recognition and credibility. And when you have articles and blog posts and news feeds out there that you're able to pull right into your website or reprint and send to people by snail mail, for that matter, that just adds to everything else. You see what I said when I said originally, there is nothing like publicity and PR that will add to the value of any marketing that you're doing.
Let's go on to slide number 6. Hopefully we'll get done these today. We got about 10 minutes left.
I think we will. I think we will. We're going to do a couple of little case studies that from my own past. Years and years ago, I was a salesperson. I'm one of the few people that you've ever met. Probably Jim, who was in sales and face-to-face selling for about 10 years. And I've spent most of my career in marketing. Most people in sales really aren't that keen on marketing. Most people in marketing don't have any experience in sales. So it kind of makes it a little unique. But I was a salesperson with a company called Emery Air Freight. Our biggest competitor was FedEx, Federal Express. So as a salesperson in this huge territory that I had, I built a 14-year-old office, and I doubled the size of that office over a period of about a year. And we grew it so much that we changed planes from a little beach craft. That's a little plane like you'd fly out from your municipal airport to I think it was a DC-9 or DC-10. So I think it was a DC-9. It was an older prop plane to a 727. All within the scope of less than a year. Now, I called the home office. I said, hey, I want to get some publicity about this. And they said, and Jim, you and I have tossed this back and forth a few times on these shows, but they said, son, we drop new metal into towns all the time. There's no news here. Get back out there and sell some freight. Well, that wasn't good enough for me. And so what I did was I personally set about to put out the press releases and put out the information. And I had at 4:30 in the morning, for those military like Jim, at 04:30, we had a representative from the mayor's office, a representative from the Port Authority. We had a television station. We had newspaper reporters and radio. I had actually about, I don't remember how many. There were 10 or 12 regional newspapers that covered it all together. They weren't all out there at the same time. And a whole bunch of radio stations and all the TV stations. And what were they there for at 04:30, Jim?
They were going to do their impersonation of Fantasy Island. The plane, boss, the plane. They were filming a plane.
A plane at an airport.
An airplane at an airport at 4:30 in the morning coming in for a landing. Now, but, if that ain't some PR selling, I don't know what is,
Well, it was all PR. I didn't have a budget to do any of it. I was doing it in between 25 sales calls a week. And folks, the power of it, we had over, in today's money, well over $250,000 worth of promotional benefit from that, and added even more to the growth of that office. So PR, in fact, I call what I do, Jim, I have a different name for it. I call it DRPR, because direct response is the kind of marketing that I'm best known for. A response, not just to build your image.
And well, before we go to
PR, that is designed to get a response.
Just before we go to the next slide, I got to tell you, I still crack up. Here's the airline pilot's been flying all night. They land there at 4:30. They come out, open up the door, come outside, and all of a sudden, here's this news media and bright lights and all that.
Bright lights.
Poor guys. Anyway, here's number 8. Case study number 5. Oh, this is a good one. Go ahead.
Oh, I call this the marketing trifecta. Okay. If you don't have some charity or some cause that your business is behind, get one. Find one. Make it one that matters to you. The trifecta here is one that generated over 3,000 media events when I was doing work with American Forest. Now, this was a for-profit arm of American Forest, which is the oldest conservation group in the country. And we tied in another nonprofit, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And we got Walmart, who understands how this stuff works and the importance of it. And they funded this campaign that generated over 3,000 media events in a single weekend, Memorial Day weekend that year. The power of that, it blew out the servers and the phone systems, with the phone calls coming in and people trying to get onto the site to order the historic trees that we had and things like that. That's the power. And this doesn't happen from having a great press release with a great headline. This was a campaign that we spent several months building. And
let's go on to the next one.
Go on to the next one. We only have a few minutes left.
Okay.
This is important. You're not pitching yourself. I'll say that again. You're not pitching yourself. Now, you may have a client or a customer that you give a quote from, or somebody else, somebody in government, whoever, depending on what it is that you do. If you have a direct quote, 9 times out of 10, they will leave it in word for word. So your purpose, remember, your number one customer is that news director, that gatekeeper, that blog owner. Your primary that you're trying to reach with a message and getting them to respond are the people who are your prospects and customers.
Absolutely.
So avoid trying to pitch yourself. You'll get the message through with that story. Oh, and this is direct response PR. It really is. It's more than free publicity. Put that thought out of your mind. It's more than just getting free publicity. You're bringing value to the people who are looking for that value for their market. And the people reading it, it's enough value that they're going to respond. It can be your very best lead generating tool. And I don't know how many people remember this. There was a piece that came out years ago, or a book, 6 Degrees of Separation, I think it was called. And I may have the name wrong, but it basically was, no matter who it is in the world that you want to meet and talk to, you basically are 6 people away from that person. Now think about that. The people that you want to have as your clients, if you could have your top 100 best of best of best, you're no more than about 5 or 6 people away from them connecting with you. That's where PR, direct response PR, comes in so important. And it can definitely affect your annual revenue in double digits when it's done right.
Now, the big what if.
What if? Well, I've done this for mom and pops. I've done this for Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 50 companies for that matter. I've done it for our clients in over 30 countries. This works. It works no matter how small your business is or how large it is. If you own a small business, if you're local or regional, you have a very attentive audience that is even easier to reach. In fact, any of you who have national marketing going on, your national marketing really is all about how all of these individual local markets. So when you're doing your marketing, it's different. But the things I'm sharing with you here work the same way, just on a different scale.
The principles are the same. And ladies and gentlemen, we're almost out of time. We got about 30 seconds left or so. But Emerson, I tell you, this has been a wonderful type of show. We provided a lot of information. You've provided a lot of information. Let me correct myself. And Emerson's going to be back with us on Thursday, him and Mike. Well, Mike's got jury duty, doesn't he? I think so, or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll cover it one way or the other.
Yeah, but we're going to be talking more about the, ideas worth knowing. We're going to be covering that. We're going to be sharing some stories there because everybody's got a book in them. But ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure and like and share the show with others. We're available video on demand, YouTube, on our website, you name it.
Your contact information there, Jim, your email?
Yeah, I've just thought I had it in
that
there.
Up there too, because anyone who wants it, I'll send my template for a good press release. I'll send it to you, Jim, and you can give it to them.
Okay. Yeah, just email us at inspiration@e360tv.com, and we will lock and load that thing in there and get it going to you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time. We got to go. Have a blessed day, evening, whenever you see this. Emerson, thank you so much. And on behalf of Emerson and myself, we sincerely hope that you're healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.